Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're pulling from Rob Kennedy's AvGeek in Residence series to shine a spotlight on a job that's, well, it's one of the most critical in the entire aviation industry, but you've probably never even heard of it. And hey, if you've got years of management experience and you're kind of wondering what's next, then you're going to want to stick around for this. All right, so think about it. You've spent years, maybe decades, leading teams, juggling impossible projects, and basically living inside a spreadsheet. You've built this incredible skill set, but maybe the company downsized, or maybe you're just ready for something totally new. The big question is, where does all that hard-won experience actually go? Well, the answer might be in a place you would never, ever expect.
You know that sound, right? This is your captain speaking. It's so familiar, but what we forget is that behind that calm, reassuring voice is this insanely complex logistical ballet. Someone had to make sure that captain and the entire crew got to that plane on time, totally rested, and most importantly, legal to fly.
Okay, so here's our game plan for today. We'll start with the skills you already have. Then we'll introduce you to the crew scheduler. We'll get into the weeds on the high-stakes puzzle they solve every single day, show you exactly how your management skills are a perfect fit, how to actually land the job, and of course, we'll talk about the pay and the perks. Let's do it! All right, first up, your skills, new wings. Let's talk about this spot you might find yourself in. You're a manager, you're experienced, but you're looking for a whole new field to play on. Look, all those years of coordinating projects, putting out fires with your team, and making sense of chaotic spreadsheets, that stuff is pure gold. It's way more valuable than you might think, and it's tailor-made for high-pressure, fast-paced environments. And trust me, it doesn't get much more dynamic than aviation.
And that brings us right to the heart of it. Meet the crew scheduler. This could be that unexpected answer you've been looking for.
So what on earth is a crew scheduler? Think of them as the masterminds of the crew matrix. They're the people pulling the strings behind the scenes, making sure that every single flight has a qualified, legal, and rested crew ready to go. I mean, it's really that simple. No scheduler, no crew. No crew, no flight, period. So what does the day-to-day actually look like? It's nuts. One minute you're calmly building a roster for next month, the next, bam, a massive snowstorm hits the East Coast and your entire schedule is just blown up. You're suddenly a travel agent, a logistics expert, and a rulebook lawyer all at once, booking hotels, rerouting people, all while making sure every single move is compliant with strict federal regulations and union contracts. And you're doing all of this on some seriously advanced software. And yet, let's be super clear about one thing. This is not a 9-to-5 gig, not even close. The airline industry is a 24/7, 365-day-a-year operation, so you can bet you'll be working some overnights, weekends, and holidays. I mean, this is the nerve center of the airline. It literally never, ever sleeps. So how does this all fit together? Well, that's what makes it the high-stakes puzzle. This is where the job gets incredibly tough, and honestly, for the right person, incredibly rewarding. Yeah, this really breaks it down perfectly. You're basically three people in one. You're an air traffic controller, but instead of planes, you're directing crews all over the globe. You're a puzzle master, constantly solving these insane logistical challenges where the pieces are always moving. And maybe most importantly, you're a crisis manager. You're the one who has to stay calm and find a solution when everything goes wrong. And if that wasn't enough, you're doing all of this inside a super strict regulatory world. Whether you're in the US following FAA rules like Part 117 or in Canada with Transport Canada, the goal is always the same: safety. Because the last thing anyone wants is to be responsible for putting a tired crew on a plane. The rules are non-negotiable, and then you've got union contracts that add a whole other layer of complexity to this puzzle. Okay, this brings us to the most important part of this whole thing for you. Let's talk about how the skills you already have build a direct bridge to this new career. This is the good stuff. Just look at this. It's a direct one-to-one match. Have you been a supply chain manager? Well, that's just repositioning crew and assets. A project planner? That's basically building and updating a complex roster. If you've ever been a team leader and had to handle sick calls and disruptions, you're already primed for this. The core thinking is identical. It's just the context that's new. So the takeaway here is huge. You already have these core skills. Making tough calls under pressure? Check. Solving problems when you don't have all the info? You do that all the time. Communicating across different departments? That's just a normal Tuesday for a manager.
And that last one, emotional resilience, oh yeah, that is absolutely critical. This is not a job for someone who gets flustered easily.
Okay, so let's say you're intrigued. You're thinking, hey, I could do that. What's the actual path forward? Let's break down how you get the job, how you go from your current desk to the airline's operations center. You know, the barrier to entry might actually be lower than you imagine. A high school diploma or GED is the baseline. Sure, some college courses in aviation or logistics can help, but what really makes your resume pop is any kind of related experience. Dispatch, call centers, even customer service. And this isn't a dead-end job, not at all. It's a launch pad. People move from scheduling into crew planning, dispatch, or other key roles in the operations center.
And you've got options on the kind of place you want to work too. A big, major airline, they're going to have very structured training programs and really clear promotion paths. But a smaller operator, you might have to wear more hats, which means you'll get a ton of broad experience. And maybe, just maybe, you'll be able to advance even faster. It's really about figuring out what kind of vibe you're looking for.
And last but not least, let's talk about the good stuff, the rewards. What do you get for taking on this kind of high-stakes, challenging role? Well, the pay is competitive, and it gets even better when you factor in overtime and shift differentials for those odd hours. But honestly, the perks are where it's at. We're talking flight benefits for you and your family to travel the world. The work is always changing. You will never, ever be bored. Plus, more and more airlines are offering hybrid or even fully remote work models for these jobs, which is a huge plus. So if you're a manager who gets a thrill from solving complex puzzles, who excels under pressure, and who isn't afraid to make critical decisions, your next career might just be waiting for you, right in the heart of an airline. So the only question left is, are you ready to command the crew matrix?